If you feel scattered, tired, and behind, it's not because you're lazy, it's because the environment is designed to pull you off mission. Attention is the new currency and everybody wants yours. Apps, news, coworkers, even your own habits. That's why Jim Rohn, an American entrepreneur and legendary personal development speaker who was active in the 70s and 80s, that's why he hits so hard right now. His whole philosophy is basically protect your mind, tighten your standards, and build your life with small, repeatable disciplines. You don't need a personality transplant, you need a better operating system. And today is Rohn in 2026, practical rules for building a life that doesn't get hijacked. So why this particular topic? You've probably seen Jim Rohn on social media but don't know who he is. His talks have shaped modern self-improvement and business coaching through blunt, practical ideas about discipline, habits, and personal responsibility. And his ideas still persist today. So I wanted to revisit this and look at all of his great pointers in the context of this year, 2026, so you can make the most use of them.
Can you imagine dumping a barrel of trash into this mental factory every day and coming out with a rich, dynamic, positive life? It can't be done. It doesn't matter where you get the bad stuff. It'll still do its damage on your bank account, wherever you get it. Mr. Schoaf gave me one of the greatest phrases when I first met him when he said, "Jim, every day stand guard at the door of your mind." How important. Stand guard at the door of your mind.
So here's the first move that I love from Jim Rohn. Take back your inputs in your life. Before you try to fix your job, your finances, your relationships, you have to fix your inputs. Your mind is a factory. Whatever you feed it becomes your mood, your beliefs, your energy, your decisions. If your inputs are chaos, your output will be chaos. In 2026, most people live in constant mental contamination and wonder why they can't focus. So start here. Decide what gets through the door. News diet, phone diet, people diet, dopamine diet. Protect all of them. Protect the factory and you protect your future. In 2026, you're still shaped by the people around you, but you're also shaped by what's in your pocket. In Jim Rohn terms, your 5 is now the people you talk to, the content you consume, the problems you stare at, the standards you normalize, and the algorithm that keeps feeding you more of the same. That's why attention is destiny. If your inputs are fear and outrage, you'll feel like the world is collapsing. If your inputs are craft, health, competence, and truth, you'll start acting like a builder. The move isn't to become a hermit. It's to curate 2 circles on purpose. A growth circle that challenges you and a recovery circle that keeps you sane. Everything else gets reduced. That's how you stop living like the average. Next, raise your standards. Your life follows your tolerances. The fastest way to change your life is to change what you tolerate. The messy environment you ignore. The sleep schedule you keep excusing. The toxic relationship you keep rationalizing. The scroll habit you keep calling decompression. Standards sound abstract until you realize standards are just boundaries with yourself. When you raise your standards, your choices get cleaner automatically. Most people wait for motivation. Standards don't wait. They decide. And then there's the compounding law. Small disciplines create big outcomes. Life is built on compounding. Tiny actions done consistently become identity and results. Tiny mistakes repeated become damage. This is the part people underestimate because it's boring in the moment. A 20-minute walk won't change your life today, but it changes your life in 6 months. A daily skill rep won't change your career this week, but it does change your career this year. Compounding is the real secret. When you respect compounding, you stop hunting for hacks and start stacking proofs.
The winters won't change, but you can. And that's how life changes for you. See, before I understood when it was winter, I used to wish it was summer. I didn't understand. When it was hard, I used to wish it was easy. I didn't know. And then Mr. Schoaf gave me a part of his very unique philosophy when he said, "Don't wish it was easier, wish you were better." See, that triggered my whole life change.
And then there's getting better through the idea that capability creates freedom. Do you want more options? Build more capability, more skill, more calm under pressure, more ability to communicate, more ability to finish what you start. This is why Jim Rohn's message lands. Your life expands when you become more capable. Capability is portable. Nobody can take it. And in 2026, portable capability beats titles, vibes, and credentials. You don't need to be famous, you need to be undeniable.
Yes. Success is something you attract. Success is not something you pursue. It's something you attract by becoming attractive. And the whole scope of this we call now personal development. You can have more than you've got because you can become more than you are.
And attracting isn't about becoming valuable. Success isn't a thing you hunt down like a prize. In real life, success usually shows up as opportunities. Someone calls you, someone offers you a job, someone wants a partner, someone recommends you, someone trusts you with responsibility. That doesn't happen because you chased harder, it happens because you became a signal. Reliable, skilled, disciplined, clear. In 2026, the people who win aren't the noisiest. They're the ones with proof. Proof of work, proof of character, proof that they finish. That's what attract means. Your habits and standards broadcast a reputation before you even enter the room. So work on this. Build the person. The outcomes will follow.
Learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. That's the simple philosophy that changed my life forever starting age 25. If you work hard on your job, you can make a living, which is fine. If you work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune, which is super fine. I didn't mind working hard on my job, but things didn't seem to change that much. Then I started working hard on myself to qualify.
Most people pour their best energy into their employer and give their own future all the scraps. That's backwards if you want a life that feels like your own. Your job can pay the bills, but working on yourself is what builds leverage. Health, skill, discipline, network, output, confidence. Even 30 minutes a day changes the trajectory. Your employer might not notice, but your future self will.
One of the big thrusts for success is to come up with a strong enough why. In leadership training, here's what we learn. If the why is powerful, the how is easy. But if the why isn't strong, if your goals aren't powerful, if the vision isn't clear, the old prophet said, without a vision we die, without a vision we perish, without a dream we're nothing.
And Jim Rohn also recommends that you strengthen the why, and then the how follows and becomes much more obvious. People get stuck because their why is weak, not because they're dumb. A weak why creates a weak follow-through. A strong why makes decisions automatic. So define your why like an adult. What do you want your days to feel like? What do you want your kids to see? What kind of person are you trying to become? When the why is clear, the how stops being confusing. You just start doing the next obvious step. And on the topic of time, you must protect your first and your last hour. If you want control of your life, control the bookends. Your first hour, you set identity for the day. Your last hour, you program tomorrow. Most people lose both. Morning starts with chaos and running around. Night ends with doom scrolling. So make a simple rule. First hour is for you, health, learning, building. And the last hour is for recovery, wind down, reading, planning, meditating, relaxing, sleeping. You don't need a perfect schedule. You need 2 protected zones. And know this, that your environment is pulling you towards an outcome. Your environment isn't neutral. Friends, feeds, routines, and rooms all pull you somewhere. If your environment normalizes distraction and excuses, you'll drift. If it normalizes standards and growth, you'll rise. The practical move is simple. Add friction to your worst habit and remove friction from your best one. Put your shoes by the door. Put your phone charger across the room. Put a book on your pillow. Make the good path easy and the bad path annoying.
Here's my advice to you today. Walk away from the 97%. Don't talk like they talk. Don't act like they act. Don't go where they go. Don't specialize in what they specialize in. Throw away the blame lists they cling to. Start you a new life.
And another piece of Jim Rohn advice, walk away from the 97%. Stop copying the average life. Most people consume the same garbage, chase the same distractions, complain about the same problems, and wonder why they feel stuck. If you want a different life, you need different inputs and different behavior. That means being willing to look weird for a while, going to bed earlier, saying no to people more often, training while other people's are doom scrolling, building while others binge whatever. This isn't arrogance, it's selection. You're choosing your future peer group before you even meet them. So the 2026 playbook. Here's 5 rules you can run starting tonight if you want. So the first rule, 1 health discipline daily. Walk, lift, stretch, something. Next, 1 learning discipline daily. Read, take a course, take notes, 15 minutes. Then 1 output discipline daily. Write, build, pitch, create, ship something. Next, 1 relationship discipline weekly. A real conversation, not just trying to get likes. And then 1 environment cleanup weekly. Remove 1 bad input. Add 1 good input. That's it. Not intense, structured. This is how you build a life that doesn't depend on mood. Here's a couple systems thinking loops that you can use to understand how Jim Rohn's advice from the 70s and 80s can work for you in 2026. First, there's the mental factory flywheel and understanding what the 97% runs on. First, you have unfiltered inputs, noise, outrage, junk information, which leads to lower mental clarity, fog and distraction, which leads to worse daily choices, comfort over progress, which leads to lower standards, saying to yourself that this is fine, which leads to more tolerance of bad environments, things like messy rooms and messy schedule and messy people, and then that leads to more unfiltered inputs because chaos naturally seeks chaos. Now here's a better loop. This is the Rohn flywheel and how you attract success. First, guard the mind, curate your inputs, which leads to higher clarity and better mood baseline, which leads to better decisions, better health, learning, and output, which leads to small disciplines repeated, which leads to compounding results involving skill, reputation, and energy, which leads to higher standards, what you tolerate drops, which leads to upgraded environments, people, routines, surroundings, and that leads to even cleaner inputs, better books, better conversations, which goes back to guarding your mind. Rohn's whole system is a flywheel. Protect the inputs, raise clarity, act on disciplines, upgrade standards, upgrade your environments, and then the environment protects you. And in closing, here's the 7-day Jim Rohn test. Don't try to change your whole life tonight. Run a 7-day test. Pick 1 discipline so small you can't talk your way out of it. Health, learning, output, 1 category. Do it daily for 7 days. No drama, just reps. At the end of the week, you'll have something most people don't have. Proof that you do what you say you'll do. That proof changes everything. Changes your confidence, your standards, your decisions, and your pace. So that's Jim Rohn in 2026. Build the operating system, and the results will follow.
Get at it tomorrow with new vigor. Get you some new books. Ask some new questions. Set some new goals. Get you a new journal. Start your projects book. Get a game plan going. Do some more reading. Start to make changes. Have conversations. Make contact. And do it now. And if you will, I have a feeling one of these days we'll be hearing your story.
Okay, that's all for this week. Thanks for watching. Until next time, keep thinking and being, and do not go gentle into that good night.